So guys, unfortunately, my week is over with this TRD Pro Tacoma, so I figured I'd make a video to share with you guys my final thoughts. So I posted a lot of videos about this Tacoma. Long story short, it was awesome. It exceeded my expectations. I thought it was just a tiny little truck, nothing really to it, had a finicky transmission, wasn't gonna be comfortable. Completely wrong. It is a tiny truck. That is probably the only thing that is true with this, especially compared to my first Gen Tundra, which is almost the same width size of this truck. I have a lot more room in that vehicle, it feels like, than this Tacoma. And those were the ones that we were shopping for. We were shopping for a third gen Tacoma, but we ultimately decided to just save a lot of money, not get a $40,000, well in this case, a TRD Pro, almost $50,000 truck, and we elected to get a first gen Tundra. Do I regret that? Not really, because I saved a lot of money, but this vehicle is a very nice vehicle to drive. The transmission, at least for me being in flat Florida, was not that bad. It did downshift a couple times on the freeway trying to maintain 80 miles an hour, but it was not all over the place. So the powertrain in this vehicle, honestly, for it being the 3.5, a completely different motor than the 4Runner, it acted and had the same characteristics as my 4Runner does. The transmission did shift down sometimes, or if you were to mash the throttle randomly, it would take a second to figure out which of the 6 gears it wanted to be in to then take off. It was going 70, and so the Tacoma kicks down twice a gear, but it did have to kick down. I mean, the motor is a little underpowered for this truck itself, but it's holding gears and it's not hunting around like a lot of people said to get back up to 75, because as we started that incline, it was at about 70 or so. But I feel like this motor was a little more peppy than the 4.0 liter that the 4Runner has. At least when you stay on the throttle, it feels like this truck wants to just keep going and going a little better than the 4Runner does. One of the things too that I really wanted to think about when I had this truck was, do I regret buying my first Gen Tundra? If you guys are new to the channel, I have a first Gen Tundra that we are gonna start building after next week once it gets back from the transmission shop. So I guess having to put some money into something versus something brand new. But the Tacoma that we were looking at a third gen Tacoma. It was almost $40,000. I picked up a very, in my mind, low mileage first gen Tundra with 140,000 miles on it, basically one owner, for $9,700. So the two are similar in length. However, the first gen Tundra does have a bigger bed and it does have a bigger back seat. So a little more practical of a vehicle. So throughout this week, I wanted to figure out, well, if we would have gotten that Tacoma, would I have regretted it or not? So I think no, I would not have regretted buying it. I would have regretted having a car payment versus a paid off truck. Well, one, I wouldn't off-road my Tundra the same way that I just off-roaded this TRD Pro, just because it's not really built for that yet. But the other things too, I think the Tundra that we have far exceeds this just with cab comfort, cab space, and an actual bed. I feel where we are okay that we pass on the Tacoma is right here, is the bed. This bed is very tiny for a 4-door truck. And we would have gotten probably the double cab Tacoma with the longer bed. But still, the bed itself, depth-wise, is not that big of a bed. The bed on our first gen Tundra is like any other truck bed you see because it's actual metal instead of a drop-in composite kind of a bed. So it's more functional for us. But regardless, you still have a good functional truck. I did throw stuff back here in it. We had stuff inside the cabin. So for truck stuff, this will do the job. It's just, you know, smaller form factor. So if you guys missed the off-road video that I did, I will link it up in the iCard up above. Long story short, this thing performed killer. Toyota's dimensions that they made this vehicle, the longer wheelbase, awesome. The TRD tuned Fox shocks, awesome. The tires that they picked for it, okay. The 4-low, the 360 camera was okay, but the whole transfer case and everything of this truck did work very well. The low end kind of torque that this motor produces was very good for off-roading, had no complaints off-road. Articulation was perfect. They did a really good job on this truck for its actual TRD Pro off-road purpose. One of the things that I was thoroughly impressed with are the headlights. The headlights were awesome from Toyota. Perfect cast, perfect beam pattern. I did do a video on them as well. Turns out that the auto on-off actually has a physical switch that I complained about in the video, but there's actually a switch right here that you can turn off the auto brights on-off feature. So now that I know that, the lighting on this truck is actually very good. And the Rigid Industry fog lights, they're not the best. You know, you could put something better down there, but still, the fact that Toyota gives you that as part of the whole package for this truck is very cool. Finally, interior comfort. Back seats, almost non-existent if you're above 5'5", depending on how tall the driver is. But interior comfort of this truck was very good. The fact that the steering wheel didn't wobble at about 60 to 65 like my 4Runner does, and that's very notorious for 5th gens. This truck was very, very comfortable to sit in. The heated seats were nice. The dual climate control was very nice. Everything about the interior cabin of this vehicle, except for feeling a little cheap and not premium for the price tag that this vehicle warrants, was good in my books. So it's a truck. You don't expect all the fancy glitz and glamour and stuff, but the truck is practical where it needed to be in the interior, functional where it needed to be. The Apple CarPlay worked awesome. This whole Entune system worked awesome. Having a moonroof was very nice. The 360 camera was good in parking lots, not so good off-road. The whole 4-wheel drive system worked in here good. The handbrake, finally got used to that, and now the truck is going on Monday. But regardless, the inside of this Tacoma was pretty functional, except for those back seats. Not really that functional. If you have smaller kids and stuff, it would have been good, but if you're a grown adult or you have a lot of friends that you're gonna travel around with, probably not the best. That is where our first Gen Tundra actually shines. I can sit in the back of the seat of that truck after I've driven. That doesn't make sense, but I can fit in the back of that behind my normal seat position way better than this truck. So the first gen, I'm definitely glad that we got the double cabin that, because the double cabin this Tacoma is significantly smaller than that. So guys, that wraps up the review series of this Tacoma. If I missed some things that you guys wanted to know about, I tried to cover it all with the limited time that I had this vehicle, both here on YouTube and over on my Instagram. So if there's anything I missed that you have questions about, let me know down in the comment section. So I do have more vehicles and stuff coming from Toyota, so I'll try to keep this same type of style when I get those vehicles. But if you guys have any suggestions of how I did things or how I should improve on things for those future press videos, then definitely let me know. If you guys are new around here, definitely consider subscribing. Returning subscribers, as always, I appreciate your guys' support, and I will catch you in the next video. All right, see you later.